10 legislators at the Kogi State House of Assembly have held a sit-in at the Assembly's complex in Lokoja, the state capital. This comes several days after the House of Representatives passed its committee's recommendations that the State House should not sit until the leadership crisis is resolved.
One after the other, the lawmakers came into the hallowed chamber of the Kogi State House of Assembly. Their scene settled for the day's activities, but this seating is coming after the House of Representatives' resolution seeking an end to the leadership crisis. The factional Speaker, Honorable Ahmed Imam, condemned in strong terms that resolution.
For the House of Representatives to have gone ahead in passing a resolution to take over the House without first fulfilling the constitutional provision of Section 11, subsection 5, is to say the least regrettable.
Some of the lawmakers supported his stance, describing the House of Representatives' action as unconstitutional.
The House received with dismay the attempt by the National Assembly and other external factors trying to subject Kogi State House of Assembly to public ignominy.
I'm calling on the House of Representatives to respect the sanctity of the institution as an apex law-making body of the nation that should not be cajoled into making hasty, biased, and politically motivated laws.
The members resolved that the legal representative of the House should file a contempt of court on the leadership of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Chairman and Secretary of the Ad Hoc Committee.
This Assembly is in session. The Assembly met and officially transacted its legislative business at both plenary sitting and at the committee meeting.
The members also held a valedictory session in honor of the late James Acholi, the Minister of State for Labour and Employment. The House later adjourned sitting until Wednesday, the 16th of March.
After the purported impeachment of the Speaker of the Kogi State House of Assembly, the House of Representatives held a session and agreed to intervene to end the dispute. But that intervention seems not to be going down well with some members of the Kogi State House of Assembly who say it's not right for the lower house to take over the responsibility of the Kogi State House of Assembly. What does the Constitution say about takeovers of a State House of Assembly, and what are the conditions stipulated by law before takeover can be effected? Well, joining me on the news at 10 is a senior lawyer, Mr. Wahab Shitu. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10.
Thank you for inviting me.
You have heard about the proposed takeover of the functions of the Kogi State House of Assembly, as a matter of fact, and that's coming from the House of Representatives. My question is this constitutional?
Well, there are provisions for such takeover under the Constitution, specifically Section 11 of Section 4 and Section 11 of Section 5 of the Constitution expressly provides for the National Assembly to take over the legislative function of any State House of Assembly whenever it appears that such State House of Assembly is unable to perform its functions. And when is such a State House of Assembly unable to perform its functions? That is also clarified by Section 11, subsection 5, to the effect that when such State House of Assembly is unable to hold a meeting or transact business. Now, if you look at, if you consider those provisions with Section 96 of the Constitution, which says that the quorum of a State House of Assembly shall only be constituted by 1/3 of all the members. Again, if you look at Section 97, subsection 2 of the Constitution, it says that no question can be determined by the State House of Assembly except by a simple majority. Then you will be able to then appreciate that what is going on in Kogi State presently before the resolution of the House of Representatives, poses, gives great concern to the stability. The prevailing situation in Kogi State, is a fundamental threat to the peace process. It's a fundamental threat to order and good governance. And those are the situations contemplated by the Constitution for the takeover of the National Assembly. And in order to make laws, not for the good governance, order, peace, order, and good governance of the State House of Assembly. And we must also recognize the fact that it is a stopgap measure. The intervention of the National Assembly in such situation is to ensure that the peace process is not destabilized.
But this would have been okay if all of this, as you have put it, is what has happened. The lawmakers on their side have argued that the House is in no form of anarchy, as a matter of fact, and they said that they do not see the basis for the National Assembly, the House of Representatives, to wade into the issues at the state level. How do you respond to that?
My response is that the lawmakers in Kogi State House of Assembly are not being truthful. We all know that there's crisis in that assembly. There is factionalization in that assembly, owing to the impeachment of the speaker and rival claims by by minorities. That has given rise to to a fundamental threat to the peace process in Kogi State. And what is contemplated by the Constitution is a situation where there is the likelihood of a breakdown of law and order. That is when the National Assembly will intervene. So what the National Assembly has done in this case is in line with constitutional provisions. It is immaterial that the Kogi State, certain elements within the Kogi State House of Assembly are resisting it. But my own submission is that if we do not have such provision allowing for intervention by the National Assembly when there's a crisis or there's a threat to the peace process, anarchy looms.
Now the lawmakers are also saying that if this persists, they will take the House of Representatives to court. Do they have a case?
Yes, they can go. The court is to arbitrate. What the court will do is to look at the prevailing situation in Kogi State, look at the provisions of Section 11, subsection 4, and Section 11, subsection 5, and look at the provision of Section 96, as well as Section 97 of the Constitution. I also look at the situation and the provision of Section 305, subsection 3 of the Constitution. All of these provisions contemplate that when there's a threat to public safety, when there's a threat to public order, when the situation at the State House of Assembly is such that the State House of Assembly is unable to perform its functions, or because they cannot transact meaningful business. And how do you transact meaningful business without forming a quorum? How will you be able to transact meaningful business if you cannot gather enough members in terms of simple majority to be able to determine any legitimate question? And do you expect the National Assembly to fold its hands and allow anarchy to take place in any state?
I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it at that.
Yes. What the National Assembly is doing in this case is salutary and ought to be commended by every patriotic Nigerian.
Mr. Wahab Shitu, senior lawyer, I want to thank you so much indeed for speaking to us on the News at 10.
Thank you for inviting me.
Starting now for business news on the News at 10, we'll be joined by Emana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it has uncovered and aborted a highly sophisticated plot to defraud the financial regulator by some individuals. Competent sources told Channels Television today that some of the individuals who were part of the fraud attempt have been arrested by security operatives. The sources also say the amount involved in the botched financial transaction was below 200,000 United States dollars. Channels TV was informed that the central bank is investigating a few staff members to ascertain their level of complicity or otherwise in the attempted fraud. The financial regulator, in a statement on Thursday, assures that the security of the bank remains intact. National Salt Company of Nigeria, the manufacturer of Dangote salt, has rewarded its distributors in Nigeria for their loyalty over the years. At the first edition of the listed company's awards ceremony and dinner, distinguished distributors were rewarded with gifts in cash and kind.
Salt is sweet, so also is the reward for the distributors of NASCON, as the leadership of the company had 10 awardees from around the country appreciated for their year-long loyalty.
Overall, Best Performing Distributor 2015.
As various awards categories were announced, the overall distributor emerged. The ceremony is not just for rewards, but also to introduce the new board members of NASCON. And the immediate past chairman, Aliko Dangote, sets the ball rolling in this segment.
They are more than equal to the task. They will take the company to the next level, and I'm sure you will come back to us next year and thank us for stepping aside for a better team.
Along with the strong management team in place, we are committed to making NASCON a fully fledged, fast-moving consumer goods company and the employer of first choice within our sector.
NASCON targets becoming one of the top 10 quoted companies on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and these loyalty awards take the company another step in that direction.
Already we've repackaged the salt, as you know. It's new and refined. It's iodized as well, so that has happened. We're obviously looking at the lines. We have lines now that are currently not producing in terms of the tomato paste and vegetable oil.
One of our directors, Sani Dangote, is Dangote Farms, and they have a very huge capacity. And there are other people who are also growing the tomato. We are doing the paste. So I'm sure we are not going to lack raw material. There's enough raw material to make sure that we satisfy our yearning customers.
We're looking at expanding the variety of products that we have because, as we all know, consumers like new things. And we're also looking at backward integration for some of the products that we produce.
Our customers are number one. No matter what, they are right. So you need to be there for them. You need to appreciate them. You need to make them comfortable, make them happy. And you need to be able to have the strategic, insight on how to take the company to the next level, grow these distributors into whatever it achieves.
NASCON controls more than 60% of the industrial and domestic salt markets. With these recognition awards, distributors are encouraged to partner NASCON the more on its tomato paste production.
Today's trading at the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed sunny side, with the benchmark index edging up by 0.25 percentage point to close at 25,988.40. Bolaji Akinwale has details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Equities transaction at the Nigerian Stock Exchange stood at 165.9 million shares, valued at 1.3 billion naira, and traded in 2,895 deals. The benchmark index edged up by 0.25 percentage to close at 25,988.40. The market's capitalization closed at 8.9 trillion naira. The activities of blue chips pushed the market to the positive territory. Awando topped the list of gainers with 10.08%. Tiger Brands recorded a 10.04% gain, while Flour Mills was up by 9.68%. On the decliners table, Axis Bank lost 4.74%. It is followed by Law Union and Rock by 4.48%. On the volume chart, bank stocks led the pack, with FBN Holdings and Fidelity Bank at the top of the ladder. That is in the Stock Market Report. I'm Bolaji Akiwale.
Let's see how the global stocks performed this time around. That's Business News Tonight. I'm Imana Amawe. It's back to Gimba.
You first. First Bank.
And still ahead on the news at 10, the fight to eradicate doping from athletics continues as the IAAF is set to decide the fate of Russian athletes ahead of the 2016 Olympics. That's on Sports News. Join us again.